The model village Behrampora is also known as the Gate Way of Raffiabad. The village is situated to the northwest of Appletown Sopore, at the distance of 8 kilometers. Its coordinates are 34 degrees, 19 minutes, 43 seconds north, and 74 degrees, 23 minutes, 57 seconds east. The village is inhabited in 2012 by more than 6,000 people. The village is spread on 1.5 square kilometer area. The village has 9 mohallas under 2 panchayat halkas: Behrampora A and Behrampora B. The village has 257 acres of common land kacharai. Behrampora, as legend has it, was founded by a Muslim saint Behram Sahab in the second half of the 16th century. This saint was the contemporary of the world-famous Kashmiri saint Hazrat Makhdoom Sahab, born in 1456 and died in 1509. Behram Sahab was destined with a long life, and enjoyed the privilege to be the witness to the era when Kashmir had the pride of having its own rulers. Behram Sahab lived to see the rulers like those of Muhammad Shah 1493 to 1528 and Nazuk Shah 1529 to 1530. He, however, missed the rule of Yusuf Shah, the last ruler of Kashmir, very marginally. As history has it, Yusuf Shah ruled Kashmir up till 1586 AD, before falling to the conspiracy of Mughals. Since then Kashmir could never find its self-rulers. Behram Sahab lived a very simple life. He had least inclination towards worldly pleasures. He lived on the northern bank of the Pohru Nalla. He was, however, very avid of mulberry fruit. For the entre fruit season the saint would ferry to the southern bank of the Nalla where a 257-acre mulberry orchard would stretch its hand to welcome the pious saint. As legend has it, the saint had erected a thatched hut amid the mulberry orchard on a table-shaped piece of land. This hut would act as his abode during the rough course of the weather. During his stay in the hut people would come to seek blessing from him. There would always be a good rush of devotees. Many devotees became his permanent disciples and erected their huts around the hut of Behram Sahab. Soon a habitation was formed. The Kashmiri term for habitation is pur. Thus the habitation came to be known as Behrampur in 1550s AD. The saint did, however, choose Yunsu, a habitation on northern side of Nalla Pohru, as his final resting place where his grave is stll an inspiration for the local community. The place where Behram Sahab is believed to have erected his thatched hut is now a permanent graveyard in Gani Mohalla in front of the Masjid Ibrahim. Behrampora has now lost its much-hyped common land to the developmental programs. There are dozens of school buildings on it. There are many play fields, a hospital building, an animal husbandry building, a community hall, and 2 panchayat ghars erected on the chest of the erstwhile mulberry orchard. One can see now only 10 to 20 mulberry trees hither and thither around these structures. This stands testimony that the mulberry orchard of 1800 canals was the pride of the village up till 1991 AD. The village presents a nice scenery. It has metallic roads running in its interiors. The structures on either side of the road lends it a look of a developed market site. The village has now a good count of public buildings. There is a government higher secondary school, a private high school, 3 middle schools and a religious madrasa. Thus the children have an easy access to schools. The villagers live in perfect harmony. The village has its own village welfare committee which keeps the menaces in check and undertake developmental initiatives. The village Awqaf committee looks after the village institutions like those of shrines, Eidgah, mosques, and graveyards. The sons of this proud village are very enterprising. The transition from traditional agriculture to the modern techniques is quite visible in Behrampora. One can find villagers ploughing their farmland with tractors, spraying their orchards with diesel motors and ferrying their agricultural produce in load carriers. The village has many poultry farms which supply the poultry to the different markets of the area. The milk production of the village is tremendous. The retailers sell in totality more than 2,000 liters of milk and 400 liters of curd every day. The village has nearly 50 contractors to carry on the works of JKPCC, R&B, and pond departments. They are always seen building metallic roads, hospital and school buildings, drainage systems and link roads of the village. They are well equipped with bulldozers, load carriers and mixers. The transport sector of Behrampora deserves a special mention. One can see the passenger vehicles of Behrampora plying on every road of Raffiabad. But for the transport of Behrampora, the upper reaches of Raffiabad would have been craving to see the road connectivity even in this 21st century. During the first half of the 20th century, Behrampora was earlier very famous for its artisans. The village was virtually a colony of goldsmiths. Though 95% of the artisans have had a transition from the craft, yet the remaining 5% have consolidated their position in the field. Now the goldsmiths of this village are having monopoly in almost all the markets of Raffiabad. One can find the jewelry of this village stalled in Sopor, Wattagam, Dangivocha, Behrampora, Kralgund and Silu. The trustworthiness of these jewelers is the matter of great pride for the village. The village fruit growers have had many strides in their field. A good percentage of them have excelled in the field, and have installed shops and fruit mandi Sopor. They have proven themselves into trustworthy and potential buyers of apple fruit. The hawkers of Behrampora lend the village the early excitement. Rising with the skylark, these early birds are seen loading their horse carts with kitchenwares, vegetables, fruits, and junk, and exposing the nearby habitations to the music of horse hoops. They return to their storages by twilight and add charm to the crowded hours of the village. The topography of Behrampora is matchless. Surrounded by apple orchards on either side, the village presents a glorious look. In the west of the village, there is a beautiful sports stadium overlooked by two huge water tanks. There is a much decorated Eidgah and the shrine of Dedmoj Sahiba adjacent to the sports stadium. One can see the bright face of Gove Higher Secondary School Behrampora glowing across the fence of the stadium. In the east of the village there is a new type primary health center building promising the visitors with sound health. The northern side of the village is an expanse of greenery where a dozen teams of children enjoy playing different games. The village has also a beautiful sports field in its south. Thus this village of landscapes have every merriment to offer to the villagers. There is a lot more to speak of about this beautiful village: stories of landmarks of educated youth, stories of the competition in educating, stories of the outlook of the new generation, and the like. This writer has simply initiated to unravel these stories so that the budding writers may pick up the thread and glorify this village with their write-ups. So, dear readers, let's work together to help our village grow on modern lines. Let's keep honing our internal pull and make ourselves the more responsible sons of this proud village. Long live Behrampora. Tariq Ahmad at 724.